Well, hi everybody, this is Tim Mai.
And AC Ramos.
We are here at our title company, Providence Title here in Houston. And we're going to go through a deal that we closed on recently and just share with you, about the kind of contracts that we use, and how we do our closings. So, to give you an idea of how simple this business really is. Because a lot of people, they make the contracts and the closing process way more difficult than what it needs to be. So we just want to share with you like how simple our wholesaling business really is. So AC, you want to share a little bit about this deal and where we got it and what's the situation?
All right, this particular deal right here was a probate property. We found them with a postcard. We weren't targeting probates in this situation, but that's what the situation happened to be with this property. We were able to deal with the executor of the estate, and we got this property under contract for $38,000. Easy one-page contract, and we got that for $38,000, like I said.
Okay, yeah, and I don't see if we can zoom in just so you guys can see here. I don't know if you can see on the video, but it's $38,000. Very simple. The contract has like a 6-line of what the contract is about, and how we're gonna pay all the closing costs. And the seller's selling it as is, and we sign it. The seller sign it on their end. Very simple contract.
Yeah, and then from that point, once we have it under contract, we sold it to another investor here in town who is either going to rehab it or maybe landlord it. It would work out for either situation. And we use a one-page assignment for that. And in this case, this was a quick and simple, easy deal. We took a quick $5,000 on that one.
And then the way we did it is we had the buyer pay $2,000 up front, non-refundable deposit, and then the remaining $3,000 at closing. So we got paid a little bit, as soon as he signs this assignment, and then more on the back end when we close on it.
And that $2,000 is non-refundable, so it keeps your buyer locked into the contract.
Yeah. And AC, what would you say is the value of this property?
I believe this property was worth about 80 to 85, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so this is a small house, not a big deal. So again, simple one-page contract, simple one-page assignments. Okay, we like to keep things really simple, really easy. And then now we're going to go through the HUD-1 settlement statement. Just so in case you don't know what a HUD-1 settlement statement is, basically it's a spreadsheet of all the numbers regarding this transaction. All the expenses and the costs associated with the sellers, all the costs and expenses associated with the buyers, and who's going to bring what money to the table and who's going to get what money at the table. And so it's called, people call it a HUD-1 settlement statement, or sometimes they just simplified called a HUD statement, or HUD-1. So you want to talk about the kind of closings that we do?
Yeah, and with our deals, because we do mostly wholesaling, we try to keep it simple for us and for our buyers and sellers, and we really don't want to cross the two. It's not really a matter that the seller needs to know what we're making on the property, so we do what is called blind HUDs or split HUDs, depending on what your title company calls them. Not all title companies will do them. You have to find an investor-friendly title company that will work with you. That's a big deal. In this case right here, this is the seller's HUD-1. It looks exactly like the buyer's HUD-1, except on one side you have all the seller's information, like all the payoff amounts and all the fees they have associated with their deal. And that's this one. This one's the seller's one. And on the buyer's HUD, it's exactly the same, except only the buyer's side is filled out. So when they go to closing, the sellers have their closing, with the title company, and the buyers have a separate closing with the title company. It's not a double closing, where most people, when you're talking about double closing, you're talking about buying the deal in one transaction and selling it. These are just separate closings. They're not double closings. So when the buyer comes in, usually the buyer will come in first, They sign off on all their paperwork and they get the information here, which is what they're paying, their fees, everything that's associated with their cost. And then the seller comes in later and signs the one with all their information and what they're getting. They're walking away with a check at closing or whatever, and then they get to walk away with a check right at the end of closing because the buyer already brought the funds. So that's how we work it to keep it simple. Everybody works really smooth with that, and it just works out great.
Yeah, and if you were to explain to your title company what a blind HUD is or what a split HUD is, this is much more commonly done in commercial transactions, in commercial properties, not so much residential properties, but we're using that same strategy or technique that the commercial people use and do it here with single family homes. So just explain that to them if they don't understand what you're trying to say. You just want to have a transaction where the sellers only see their part, their fees, their part of the financials, and the buyers only see their part of the financials. Okay? You okay? All right.
Better not.
Get that.
Look at all this money made check.
So in this case, the seller owns the house free and clear. So on this HUD, it shows here the seller's gonna get, after closing costs and everything, $37,508.93. Mostly because of the taxes that were due on the property, because the sellers doesn't have any other closing costs other than the property taxes that were due to them. So from that $38,000 minus almost $491 of taxes, they end up with $358.93. $37,508.93. And then on the buyer side, the buyer's paying $38,000 for this house, plus we have a $5,000 assignment fee, but since they already took out they already prepay us $2,000 up front, on this HUD it only reflects the balance of $3,000, plus all the other closing costs that the buyer had to pay. The buyer ended up coming to table with, let me see here, $44,788. And in this case, what this buyer did was they bought a private money loan, and the private money lender loaned them $53,491.07. So basically, the buyer walked away from this deal with a little bit over $8,700. So that way they can use that money toward the rehab of the property. So apparently it doesn't need a lot of rehab. Small deal, but it's a sweet deal, right? So you as the buyer, or your buyer, even get paid to buy this property. That's pretty cool. Pretty slick. Okay, so that's pretty much it. And then here the assignment fee is $3,000 because of the balance. So maybe I can zoom in real quick, so I want to make sure everybody sees this. So here's our assignment fee of $5,000 based on the assignment contract here. Okay, the buyer paid $2,000 upfront already, and then at closing, what's left is this $3,000 that's left. And so, if you can see it, great. And that's pretty much it. So that's how a closing happens, and this is how you make money in the wholesaling business. Really simple. So with that, we invite you to sign up for our upcoming event that we're doing, our upcoming seminar. So just click on the link below this video, and it'll take you to events that we're doing coming up. And so, AC, anything else you want to say?
No, just come out and we'll have a lot of more information like this, help you out with anything that's holding you back. And I want to see you there. Let's get this done.
Yeah, we like to keep them simple, get in, get out, get you paid, so that way you can move on to the next deal and make your millions. So with that, see you at the next event. Bye.